We have been having some absolutely glorious weather and the promise of a good summer. I decided to build this. It took me about a week to put in the decks, the pergola and the summer house that you can see behind me. Of course, for a job like that, what you're normally thinking of are some pretty tough and chunky tools. I mean, we're talking chop saws and impact drivers and that kind of thing. Every now and then though, in fact more than every now and then, you need something a little bit more delicate maybe. So that timber is all saw finished, so inevitably I got a splinter. There it is. It's over 1 centimetre long. So just to warn you, this next bit is not really for the squeamish. That little bit was entirely in my finger. It came from a bigger bit that snapped off. And the little bit was buried in the entirety, straight in that finger about 1 centimetre in. It was impossible to get to because it broke off a little bit further down. Now, your options on something like that are pretty limited. I could have gone to the hospital and had them dig around with a needle. But to be honest, I don't think for trivial things like this I should be bothering the NHS. So what I decided to do, sensibly or not, and I must admit it's not something I recommend for people, it's just I have a pretty high pain threshold and sometimes I'm not the brightest of guys. So what I decided to do was just let it scab over and pus up, which of course it did, and the end of my finger swelled up. And then I wanted to cut off the top, squeeze it, and it could come shooting out along with a load of pus, which is exactly what happened and exactly how I got that out of there. But to do that, of course, what I needed to do was slice the top of that bit of finger off. And to do that, well, something like this, it's a bit brutal for that job. What we need is something a bit more delicate. Luckily, I have this thing, which is a Metmo multi-tool. Now, it comes with these scalpel blades that are incredibly sharp. I mean, they're meant for cutting out bits of card, that kind of thing. To fit the blade, you slide it onto the blade holder, push it down. They recommend you push it down with a pair of pliers, because it is quite sharp, and then pop it in the holder, and what you've got is a really cool scalpel. Of course, it's brilliant for cutting out bits of card or something, but it's also brilliant for removing things like that splinter. So there is the actual wound on my finger. What I did was slice off the top and the splinter came shooting out. Okay, so the gross bit is over, and I don't think Metmo designed this for a little bit of home surgery. It was definitely meant for other uses. And you'll know Metmo because Steve Mould did a video on their air piston, which is an absolutely fascinating bit of engineering. And there are a group of guys in Leeds doing some beautiful engineering, and they've got something going at the moment with the fractal vice. So they're starting to produce this fractal vice, which I believe is a Kickstarter campaign that they're running. They did send me this to have a look at for no particular reason, and I've had a look at it, and it is a beautiful piece of kit that's really one of those handy pocket things. Now, I used it to get that splinter out, but it does come with other bits. I mean, it's got a whole load of pencil leads, and if you're cutting wood, you're marking wood, so that's immediately useful. You've got a metal scriber, a file in there, a little hex bit holder that'll take standard hex bits. So it's a pretty little thing, and I certainly found a use for it that I didn't expect. But I do use it quite a bit, particularly the pencil, which I find useful actually, and it is quite a pretty thing. Anyway, I thought I would show you my pergola, I thought I'd show you what I did in my home surgery, and I thought I'd show you the little Metmo device and what those guys are up to, because they're a British company, and you have to support British engineering if you're a Brit, don't you? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and please do remember to like and subscribe.